In most of my violin tutorial videos, you might notice that I try to breathe and cue before I play. This is preparation for me to prepare the tempo and the intensity at which I'm going to play. However, when you're playing with another person, breathing and cueing is even more important. It lets your duet or quartet partners know exactly how quickly you'd like to play the piece and with what kind of feeling. So before we practice some cues and some breaths with the violin, let's try some cues without the violin. Can you say the composer's name? Can you say Paganini exactly with me? Ready? Paganini. Yeah, that's pretty impossible unless I breathe beforehand. Paganini. Now, if I were to breathe a little bit more quickly, Paganini, or more slowly, Paganini. It's very clear at what speed I'm going to speak that word. I can show the intensity of that word with how big my preparatory gesture is. If I were to cue like this, Paganini, you might think it's going to be a little bit louder. And if I were to cue like Paganini, obviously it's going to be a little bit softer. So let's do a couple of cues with the violin. I will breathe and lift my violin on the beat before I start playing. One, two, three. One, two, three. Here's a cue in 3/4 time. 1, 2. 1, 2. I try to exhale when I start playing as well. Here's a cue in 2/4 time. 1. So just in case you've been wondering what those time signatures mean, 4/4 means that there are 4 beats per measure and the beat is the quarter note. 3/4 means that there are 3 beats per measure and the beat is the quarter note. And 2/4 means that there are 2 beats per measure and our pulse is the quarter note as well. Now, in 6/8 time, for instance, we could count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 beats per measure with the 8th note as the beat. However, oftentimes, we'll count a 6/8 bar like this. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. So in a way, the 6/8 time is very much like 2/4. 1, 2, 1, 2. Except we have these little triplet subdivisions. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. So don't worry about that too much right now. We'll see some pieces later on in all of these time signatures. Let's try cueing a 6/8 bar. 1 and. Now, sometimes the place that you'll start will not be on the beat, on beat 1. It might be at some other place in the bar. For instance, Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. So for something like that, a lot of the time we'll just sniff a little bit on the beat before we play. So here's an example of a very small cue that I can do with a sniff. 1,